Okay, guys, welcome back to the Kirk Miller Podcast. Today, I literally have my best friend, Adam Smith, aka Smithy, on the podcast. So there might be a story or two that might come out the woodwork because Smithy has literally seen me at my best. He's seen me at my worst. Literally,
and everything in between.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I've been so transparent on this podcast, and I want to continue to do that and not portray this perfect image now on the front end. That yes, you've got good business and six-pack and good relationship, good friends, and I'd like to think, very privileged life, but it hasn't always been this way. And if there's one person in my life that has literally seen the ups and the downs, then it's Smithy. But to give some context of, it's a bit weird me calling him Adam because I don't really.
No,
I can't. I've never actually called him.
Literally, only my mum calls me Adam, I think.
But to give some context, not only is obviously my best friend. I'm very very grateful to be godfather to his beautiful daughter Hattie. He's absolutely adorable. Obviously Claire, his wife, is like a sister to me. But Smithy now, I'm very very proud of where he's at in business. He runs an unbelievable business, as he'll share some insights on how that's grown over the years. But it's also a built to last Hall of Famer, yes. Literally, who, is inside the built to last coaching program has been
how long's it been now? 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years. But obviously, Smithy was the first person. Even when I was playing football at the time, I think you were one of the first people that I actually went to a proper bodybuilding gym. It was the Apollo. I don't think I'd ever done a session in a.
Because I remember I used to come and watch you on a Saturday, every Saturday play, and then we used to go out on a night out, and then
yes,
most Saturdays.
Yes. So for those who remember, literally, even though Smithy was a better shaped version of this person, I sort of associate Smithy as. You remember Paul Gascoigne played football, and then he had his mate Jimmy Five Bellies. Obviously, Smithy's anything but Jimmy.
Better than Jimmy Five Bellies.
No, Smithy's always
fucking Five Bellies. Jesus.
No, but as a friendship and a connection, obviously Smithy's been in phenomenal shape on and off, and now obviously permanently on since being about built to last. But Smithy would always watch me when I was at Coventry, and I really valued that support. But you were actually the first person where I actually went into the Apollo gym. It was our first gym where I first picked up some weights, and I remember trying to keep up with you on chest. And,
well,
it's probably why my chest didn't grow for a number of years. Exactly. It's probably why my chest didn't grow for a number of years, because I was trying to lift too much. And obviously this is something I've preached on previous episodes, Smithy, about if you can't lift the weight properly, there's not a lot that's going to happen, because I was a bit of a pigeon chest for a number of years. But look, Smithy's an amazing person, a great leader, a great parent, a great businessman, and just grateful to have you on, Smithy.
Thank you, brother.
So thank you so much. Mate. So we're going to unpack a little bit about Smithy's background and story, and Smithy, that's why he's my best friend. We are literally as honest as they come. Again, Smithy's he's had ups and downs. Obviously, you had, even on a family front, lost your dad at a young age, which must have hit you, and it impacted you too.
Definitely.
And then we'll be sharing some insights now of how Smithy now, as an elite businessman, with a family, rapidly growing business, how you still maintain phenomenal shape. So, so Smith, what's the first memory of you, maybe first childhood memory that really stands out, either on a personal front or maybe even to your fitness? Like, if you were to think about your childhood, what was your first pivotal memory that you think maybe shaped your view of the world? Like,
how do you mean? Sorry, mate.
So, like, say for example, if you think about when we're growing up, and I find this fascinating in anyone's story, and I know this was really shaped my mindset now. When you're a child, everything's super smooth, and then certain things happen that shape your mindset, your model of the world, whether it's on a personal front, physical front. Like for me, for example, Smithy, my first curveball in life was when I got told at the age of 6 by that Polish specialist, all I'd do is swim, and that shaped my mindset of I'll prove that person wrong. For other people, obviously, it's something happened with their family. For some people, but what was the first?
Well, I'd have to say, mate. Obviously, I didn't remember much about it, but it was my dad's death. Like, obviously, at 4. Do you know what I mean?
So
I don't remember too much about it, but what it brings back is obviously memories of my mum struggling to raise 3 children. I know it's quite deep
No,
already,
but this is important, because ultimately, Smith, you know, a lot of people who've achieved good things, a lot of the time it started with an internal drive. Because I know your dad, he was a very successful plumber himself. He was into property.
Yeah. It was, well, obviously he was only 41 when he passed. Yeah. But he had his own plumbing business, just a one-man sort of thing. But he was doing well. And then him and his friends, they were getting into property in Ireland and stuff like that. Yeah. So, he was successful on his own sort of front there. He was at least getting there, yeah. And then obviously, so when he passed when I was 4, that's probably the first time I remember, you know, quite probably being down. I had memories of being down, and then obviously seeing my mum struggling, you know, raising 3 of us in the same house, all that sort of stuff. And that's probably the first pivotal moment where I thought, you know, I have to be good, I have to be better when I go older. I have to be like, you know, work hard, earn what I want, you know, just be there for everyone I can be.
Did you feel, because that's Smithy, I remember you telling me a story how you said, I'm sure you said you sat on the
on the curb, on the curb, And I remember a little girl coming up to me, Alex, who was a street friend, as I used to call them, and that, because we were quite close to a lot of families on the street, and she was just like, I said to her, I goes, oh, my daddy's died and that, and so that's probably like, you know, the first memory.
Do you think, because obviously if I associate, you know, one of your biggest traits, it's your mindset, it's and that's why we probably get on so much, and also, you know, we've had our moments where we've classed very headstrong characters, but obviously it blows over in seconds. But do you feel that was one of the contributing factors to obviously being the leader you are today?
Yeah, definitely. Like, 100%. Because from a young age, then I always had to feel like I was
being like a male figure,
looking after my mum almost, and then that bred into my sister and things like that. So you know, look after my sister and my brother as well, even though my brother's a lot older than me and stuff like that. But I always had that quite leadership, or I have to be a bit authority, like, you know, within the family, like almost. I don't know. I always wanted to look after them.
And that's why it's no coincidence that. How many times have you been best man now? I mean, you've literally just had a christening at the weekend again, where you're another. I mean, it's been an expensive gig for you, because obviously you're best man and your godfather. I mean, I've lost count. I've lost count.
Nah, there has been a good few times. I'd have to try and think and remember them, but over 5 anyway, at least. Well, maybe not 5 best men, but, you know, groomsmen, you know, where you're usher and that as well.
Yeah, so, it probably is that. Yeah. And then from sport, Smithy, were you always involved with sport? Did you always like sport?
Always
from a young age?
Loved it. Always playing football. I was in, like, you know, at school we were in, like, I think I was in 6 different teams at school, like, you know, so I just loved any sport. I was in, like, football, rugby, cricket, tennis, athletics, badminton. So I was in 6 at school, so I just loved it. But obviously football was the main one.
And when did you first hit the iron? Because I remember me and you first went for a session. I think it was 16. Actually, my first memory when I with you, where I first come across Smithy, I remember us playing in a football final at Highfield Road.
Highfield Road,
So that was
Westmid's final. It was. Was it Westmid? Yeah, wasn't it?
No, that was.
That was the Telegraph final.
Yeah, so there's a couple, and I've got a funny story where I absolutely destroyed your team, scoring 2 goals.
They were, to be fair, they were fucking wildies as well. I don't know how I couldn't get near you. I think the last one was like literally right at the end of the game, and I remember seeing you and you were fucking beating everyone down the line, and I remember trying to get to you. I couldn't get to you, man. I was just going to literally hack you down if I could get anywhere near you. And I didn't get anywhere near you. And you just put it in the bottom corner and fucking ran off. And it was, oh, God.
I was fast.
Very, yeah. But even with the ball, like, it was a joke. It was a fucking piss take, really.
No, exactly. I don't know how I ended up at the back, really. I mean, my talent was wasted. I used to literally draw.
For them 2 goals, they were literally virtually identical. Bearing in mind, it was a West Mids final as well. And you ran from centre half down the left on both of them. Not once, but twice. You probably beat 3 or 4 players down that left-hand side. Cut in and tucked it like Thierry, just in the opposite bottom corner. Fucking great goals, really good.
And then the other final, there was a final, and I remember marking you, and I remember like putting my hand out. And I remember like putting my arm out to you know, as you put your arm out to try and stop someone from getting across the front.
No, mate, they are basically.
And I remember putting my hand on Smithy's chest, and I'm thinking, Jesus, like this guy does a bit, you know. And I remember literally,
I must have been 15.
We were 15,
yeah.
and that was, I think, the first time we sort of, it was like a telepathic rapport, and I sort of went, you know, even though we're playing against each other, it was quite a comical moment. I went, God, you go to the gym? Because I think you and one of our friends, Matty Casey, obviously big Matt Casey. I'm sure you were bench pressing from the age of like 13 or 14 or something.
Me and him at the time nearly were up to about 100 kg. Like, you know, even just for a couple, like at 15, it was pretty good.
14, 15. So but I just remember, I think I
remember you looked at me and I went, yeah.
I went, you do a bit, and he smirked, and then I think it went from there, isn't it? And how me and Smithy, obviously Smithy spoke about how on after our games on a Saturday at Coventry, so we used to play obviously our youth team games every single Saturday, and then we'd, well, most Saturdays we'd go, we'd basically go out drinking with you know, a lot of the
lads, and then that's how I bought, like, you know, our other best friends now, like Matty Casey and Kettle and stuff, and yeah. Oh, you knew him anyway from football, didn't you?
Yeah, but that brought us closer as friends. But it was sort of me and Smithy. I remember I'd had a couple of weeks off from trade. No, not a couple of weeks. Maybe I had a few days off from Coventry, and you know. When you have a little bit of time on your hands, when you're quite an obsessive character, and it was very rare as a professional footballer.
This Thursday when
I remember. I remember calling Smithy up on a Thursday. And
this is before we'd ever been out together.
Yeah, we'd never been out, and I remember saying to one of my old teammates, Danny Nelson, I said,
"What a legend, Danny!"
Yeah, Danny was fantastic. But I remember, you know, when you got your pockets of freedom as a footballer. You know, I was pretty good at capitalising on that. Probably didn't aid my football career too well, you know, with the obsessive traits I have. But I remember thinking, you know, to Danny, I said, who else would be out? And basically, I obviously had Smithy's number, and I remember I called him, and before you know it, I used to go out on a night out thinking, you know, 4 bottles of Reef and Bacardi Breezers, but I don't even know if they even exist anymore.
I don't know if they do.
And
Bacardi Breezers do, I think.
Yeah, and then I remember, you know, Smithy come back to the bar with a few shots, and yeah,
that was it.
That was it, really. Yeah, so maybe you're partly to blame for the for being able to turn the heat up on a night out, you know. But no, all jokes aside, obviously we obviously really strengthened our friendship then, but Smithy's been the person actually that. I mean, we've had some lads' holidays together, haven't we? Yeah. I mean, they were
tremendous,
monumental. You know, so during that period, then, Smithy, when you left school, what did you first do when you left? Tell the listeners, like, so what did you first go into? Like, what was?
Remember, so I went to do a uniform services course, didn't I?
Because the original dream was it
fireman? Yeah, I wanted to be a fireman and stuff.
Why?
So, don't know. Just like I don't know. I just liked the fact of I wanted to try and help people again, probably, or good job, like, isn't it? You know, like, you know, rewarding job. You know, you save someone's life. You think, wow, that was good. And then, so I got into that, but then I found out how much money they were on, really. You know, as a starter wage and stuff, and I thought, I didn't really. It didn't really
entice you to.
No, because money was probably always the main thing. You want to earn a lot of money, didn't you? Have nice things, have a nice house. Like, you know, so so after doing about 2 years of that, I think I completed it, sort of come out of it, and I thought, nah, I don't think it was probably for me. So then I got into the plumbing then at 18, didn't I? And went on from there doing an apprenticeship, SPI, and then got my gas straight after. So that was like a 3.5 year apprenticeship, 4 year apprenticeship, So.
And then during that time, obviously you met Claire.
Yeah.
What age was it you met 16, Claire? I remember
16,
that night in Icon.
Yeah, that night in Icon.
Another Thursday night that we used to, again, every now and then we'd have a few days off. And obviously the Coventry players were very, very good.
Yeah.
You know, having the night out, weren't we?
What a team, though, they were.
Yeah.
What an academy.
Yeah. I mean, it was fantastic.
What a group of lads, though, man. They were amazing. Like, even I'm still friends with them some now, ain't I? Like, you know, Anton in the now still speak to Pete quite a lot because of it and stuff, and great guys, man.
100%. So when did you officially start your plumbing career, and then when did you, obviously now you got your own business, but how long was it before you realised, you know, working for a company wasn't for you?
Well, it was actually what happened to me, wasn't it? Do you remember? So I lost my driving licence. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, what was that for?
Speeding. Totting up points, on the motorways, because obviously I used to work for national companies, so I was driving up and down the motorways all the time, and all the
How many speeding tickets did you get in 1 year? I remember once you missed like 4 or 5. It was ridiculous.
4 or 5, yeah, I've got a heavy foot sometimes. Heavy right foot. So that's sort of forced me to get into obviously working for myself. So it was a bit of a torrid 6 months, not being able to drive. But even then, like Claire used to drive me to places sometimes, to be able to work and stuff. So
and then because obviously one of the things I want you to share today, Smithy, is obviously you've gone from a very sort of all or nothing character, which really myself, bad. I mean, I would probably say 90% of the clients since I built to last, or maybe anyone listening to this will resonate with the all or nothing character. I think generally most people are really, really good at certain things, or quite obsessive characters. They have that in their DNA. But if I think of your training habits and stuff, Smithy, from the age of 16, even throughout your 20s, I mean, I would say before responsibilities come along, with the little one and stuff. You're pretty consistent, give or take. Definitely, But when did you find your consistency was a little bit compromised? Was it when obviously you started your own business, when Hattie come along?
When Hattie come along.
What?
But it was they were quite close together as well. So the company was growing just a little bit at the time. As well as having Hattie. Hard. Really hard, and then obviously you threw into the mix. Then I was renovating the house as well, gutting it, and I was moved out of my house, wasn't I? And that's when I remember I reached out to you again, didn't I? And you were like, "Well, I don't want to just send you any workouts now, Smith. I want you to come and
no, exactly. I remember speaking to Smithy, and it can be quite awkward sometimes because I've got some of my friends in the program, and I just knew that it could be solved, and I know deep down.
But not only for the workout sort of thing, but everything else that comes with it, the mind and learning things. And
but I knew who you were at your best. If I was to say to you, and maybe anyone listening to this who isn't quite where they want to be, think of who you are at your best, or maybe a time in your life when you felt on point mentally, physically. I'm yet to coach anyone, including Smithy, who doesn't feel at their best when they're in shape, they're healthy.
100%. I love it. I love the feeling. And that's even more to how I like the feeling more than how I look now as I grow older. I love it, the feeling more of being on top and, being on the edge of like your best all the time. It's great.
Yeah. And also if you think about some of the ways me and Smithy, I mean, some of these Ibiza trips, I mean, give some context. me and Smithy have had some lads holidays, to say the least, where we've been to the Greek islands. I mean, the famous Malias and Falarakis. Like, long story short, they're shitholes that were just absolutely unbelievable for lads' holidays to get absolutely mortaled.
Just miles of bars and stuff.
Exactly. But if you think of like the strategy that we used to get in shape during those years, I mean, it was. I've spoke about this on previous podcasts. I mean, this is why, honestly, if you listen to this, trying to be too strict. And
definitely.
No malleability. It's a marathon before you fall off
cave,
it. I mean,
but then you fall 10 times worse because it's just like.
But I firmly believe that was because we were a product of that environment. I mean, don't get me wrong, from a training perspective, I think it was fantastic. The Apollo and obviously I've had Rich Gizeki on the podcast. I loved that intensity. It just everyone was in shape in that gym when we went to Future Fitness, didn't we? And even at Apollo in the earlier days, but. I look back on that period, I'm sure you vouch for this, Smithy, like during our 20s, and people only knew one way to get in shape. And that was to eat, 6-7 meals a day, weigh everything to the gram, eat every 3 hours.
Yeah, but what we were in as well, mate, we were in proper bodybuilding gyms, weren't we, as well? So they were training for a show almost, and we were training to go on the piss. On the beach or around the pool, weren't we? But we didn't know anything else, and we were taught literally by them. This is how you get in shape. Yeah. So that's
exactly the only difference was that whilst people were training to get on a stage, we had no aspirations to do that. I mean, we would train and diet to probably just as hard. Yeah. Maybe not quite to the business end of having shredded glutes for a holiday to Ibiza, but. No. I mean, the deprivation and the yo-yoing with the binge eating as a result of that was ridiculous because we wanted to look good around a pool for 5 to 7 days. But I think that, looking back, was just riddled with insecurity.
Yeah, of course it was.
Because it was all about how you looked.
Yeah, all the time, exactly. Well, all how you looked. Didn't care. And even 3 days into the holiday, you didn't really care. But that first day, You want it to look ready, like. It's mad, wasn't it? But looking back at it, it was so poorly, wasn't it? It was,
yeah. I would go as far as saying, and honestly, this is why if you are continually trying to optimize the perfect diet plan, it does not work long term.
For that as well.
It just doesn't. It's not healthy. I mean, I would say if you looking back at those periods, if you're on a diet plan and you're in emotional control of your decisions and you're feeling happy with your food, then maybe that is the route to go down. But if you can't wait to get off it, and maybe like me and Smithy did in our 20s, where the binge eating was ridiculous, wasn't it? I mean, I remember Saturdays, me and you would speak after a hard week at the gym, and we've ate perfect. I mean, I didn't even put spices on my protein. It was basically like how bad could you make the food taste? Because by doing that, it's going to be great for you. Physically, maybe. But mentally,
definitely not.
You're literally like a raging bull. So come the weekend,
it was almost like falling off the wagon, but with food, wasn't it? It was terrible.
Yeah, and then I remember sometimes we would have conversations on a Saturday night going, cheat days coming up, and we would talk about and the sugar binges were ridiculous,
packs of biscuits and just Chineses, weren't they, and stuff.
That was if we stayed in on the weekend.
Which that's it,
a lot of the times we didn't.
No. Sundays were still a bit of a went at it with the food, didn't we?
Well,
your old man's Sunday dinners and your mum's and that. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I've spoke previously on podcasts as well about my transparency with excessive drink, because I wasn't happy with my job. I mean, you saw me when I was doing the plumbing. I mean, I was nowhere near as good as you and your team, and I don't think I was on this earth to do that. But as a result of that, you saw my habits at the weekend. The drink, the drugs. It was just like a vicious cycle, and it was.
I was with you.
Exactly. I mean, we've had some good times. I mean, but I mean,
I know what you mean. Like you could tell you just were happy. You were there every weekend, wasn't it? You felt like you wanted to go out and release.
You're just blocking out, exactly. And I've said this before. If you can't control your weekend habits, whether it's drink, drugs, sugar, processed food, anything really where you feel guilty afterwards, then it's a sign that something internal isn't quite right. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people today. But so during the 20s, I think we've firmly established that the eating strategy we had, that all in, right, unless it tastes like shit, then you're not dieting. And also from the training as well, wasn't it? Like, I know there was some occasions, again, if we couldn't get the perfect session in, especially with a little bit hungover from the weekend, we wouldn't train on that Monday.
And then that used to fall in, especially for me, it used to fall into Tuesday, Wednesday. And then if I hadn't got in there by the Thursday, back then, the whole week would be gone, like, I wouldn't be training. I'd be like, right, I'll just start again Monday. But during that time, then I'd be eating rubbish for a whole week.
Yeah, it was like if you didn't train, a lot of people do this, though, Smithy. If they can't get the perfect session in, they don't go. Then it's like, well, if I'm not training, then I might as well not eat healthy. To be perfectly honest,
mate, I've only just really learnt this since going into Built to Last.
Yeah.
I literally haven't I? Really, like, I've been better over the years and stuff, because obviously, but properly, like, just do something.
Yeah, so
do the things you control, like what you say in Built to Last.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the things you're in control of.
Since you've been in Built to Last, what do you think your biggest learn is? If we break it down like this, since you've been in Built to Last, what do you think your biggest learning is, or area of growth in terms of your mindset? What do you feel has gone to another level in terms of your mindset?
It doesn't have to be perfect. You can just do your hydration, your steps, your eating well. Yeah. On that Monday, you don't have to, just because you're not physically in a gym or doing a run or whatever you're doing, you can do them things, and then Tuesday you'll be better. You'll be a little bit better.
Yes.
You've ate well, you've slept well, you've hydrated. Then you feel better just to get in the gym. Don't just dick it off and eat a load of shit on a Monday, because Tuesday's going to be exactly the same, if not worse.
Yes.
You've got all that added sugar in your body as well.
So I suppose it's from a core driver perspective. I've spoken on previous episodes that there are 6 core drivers when it comes to how you want to physically look, and that's training stimulus, steps, food quality, food quantity, water and sleep. And a lot of people, if they can't do one, they don't do the other 5.
Yes, exactly.
But what Smithy's basically saying is, even if you can't do one of them perfectly on a given day, you can still stack up the other wins on the others.
That's it.
You know, and a lot of people.
And then that's the consistency of it all over the week. Then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, what's great about your workouts is you've got the 4. What you did teach me as well up here is you've got the 4 all over body workouts, which they pretty much are, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are.
We're from the old bro splits, and I know obviously one of my previous guests, my great friend Rich Kazeki, still loves the bro splits, and there's nothing against the bro splits. If that's working for you and you're progressing and you're happy training, brilliant. Yeah. But you couldn't pay me to train like that now, right?
No.
And I don't think it's remotely flexible when it comes.
If anyone started to do these workouts, they'd happily do them forever rather than bro splits.
Yeah, 100%. Because I've said before, I would argue with anyone till I'm blue in the face. Full body training keeps you out of pain, gets you strong where you're weak, especially if you're in your back line. They're more malleable if you can't get the perfect session in, which I think has massively helped you, right?
This is what I was just about to say then. It's more like if you've got a really busy week, sometimes you have kids, family, you know, a lot on work, you know, or things change at work where you think, oh shit, I can't get to there now. Mm-hmm. If you do even 2 of these, as well as all your steps and your hydration and eating well, you'll feel exactly the same at the end of the week, if not the week after.
Yeah, because the problem with bro splits or any method of training that can create that all or nothing mentality is if your current training program makes you evaluate or think that if you don't get one of those workouts in, you've failed, then that is not beneficial to how you want to look or your ability to build consistency over a period of months. It just won't happen.
The thing is as well, what it is with the bro splits is obviously how we train back in the day. If you didn't train Monday, you think, oh, I failed. Tuesday, I failed. Wednesday, I failed.
Yes.
So it's a constant negative thing. Then all of a sudden, bang, I'll just start again next week. But it's just, you can undo so much hard work in that whole week.
Absolutely.
Whereas with your plan and stuff like that, it's like, you know, okay, I'm not training till Wednesday, but it's going to be a good all over body workout, and so's another one on Friday. And if that's all I can do that week, then so be it.
Yeah, you just what Smithy's basically saying as well is basically the beauty of full body training. It allows for a better minimum non-negotiable standard with your training. Mm-hmm. So I always talk about having a best case scenario with your training, a minimum standard scenario with your training, best case scenario with your food, minimum standard with your food. You can do this with all the core drivers, but especially when it comes to your training, if you have the perfect week where you've got minimal stress, maybe it's quite a week at work, boom, get all your sessions in, get all your sets in. Mm-hmm. But the reality is over a 52-week period, and this is what we're absolutely obsessed in, so I built to that, you're going to have a number of weeks, if not months, that are going to be compromised with time where you can't get the perfect duration session in. You can't train at the perfect time. Yeah. So the beauty of having a minimum non-negotiable standard with your training is, and especially training full body, is you doing a couple of sets of a total full body workout. You've still stimulated your whole body. So psychologically, you still feel like you've had a massive win. And in terms of energy out, they're way more effective in terms of energy expenditure. I mean, because if you think about when we train, Smithy, we used to train 6 days a week weights. I remember the exact split. Do you remember it? What was it? Chest on a Monday. Always Monday, right, chest Monday. Tuesday was maybe back or hamstrings.
I think it was back.
Back. Then because I think especially if we had a big weekend, we didn't really want to do legs towards the start of the week because you're in a little bit of a hole right from the weekend. Exactly. And then I don't know, shoulders on a Wednesday, hamstrings Thursday, arms on a Friday. Because you wanted to go out, and then or quads on a Friday. Sorry, it was something similar to that. But the problem with that is, if you miss one, you feel like you fail. But if we look at now, at most you live four days a week.
Yeah, all the time, pretty much.
And even though we fluctuate from a performance-based goal with yourself and then optimizing condition for holidays, consistently over a calendar year, you've never been in better shape over a 52-week period.
I've missed a workout this year yet. We're 3 months in,
And the reality is, if you're trying to build consistency and match your expectation, which everyone sets at the start of the year of, I'm going to be in shape at the end of the year, I'm going to be in shape for summer. If you're going to be able to do that, you can't do that if you're not in the gym. So in order to stay in the gym, have a training protocol that is going to keep you in the gym, and full body's massive. That's it,
definitely.
But food wise, how was your food? How was your food different from those horror days of the 7 Tupperwares to now? Because obviously a lot of people listen to this, and this is going to be really, really helpful coming from someone who's experienced the ups and the downs, who's been in like phenomenal shape in your 20s, then lost your way a little bit. A lot of people listening to this might be in their late 30s, 40s and 50s. They've been in their shape in their 20s, especially early 20s, but they're not quite where they want to be physically because they're still trying to do the same methods that worked in their 20s. But food is a big one that people don't know how to do. So what do you do differently now with your food as opposed to what you did in the 20s?
Balance with everything. So obviously calorie deficits as well, which you teach us, don't you? Yeah. And obviously spices.
Yeah. Actually spices. Honestly, this is no joke. I swear to God. Yeah. I mean, I was probably the most extreme out of everyone.
Well, obviously used to tell me, no, you can't do that. So I was like, all right, sound, you're the guru of that too. I just won't do it. And obviously being quite strong-minded as well, I could do it. Yeah. So then, if it was going to get me where I wanted to be, so yeah, I took your word as gospel.
But yeah. So but in terms of meal frequency and stuff, because I think it's really helpful, Smithy. We used to eat six times a day, every 3 hours on the dot, which is totally impractical in the modern world. But how many meals a day you eat now?
3. Okay. So all I eat is 3. Yeah, and a couple of snacks in between, like protein yogurts and things like that. Yeah. But yeah, literally 3 meals a day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, that's simple.
It. Yeah,
that's
breakfast,
simple.
lunch, and dinner. That's
it. And then how many times across a week would you say you eat out on an average week?
Twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once Turkish, 100%. Like because it's quite healthy.
Yep.
And then it's probably, and then once with a family, it'll be like a pub, something like that. Yeah. But I'll probably eat steak or something like that. But it's wholesome stuff. I've never really go to McDonald's and stuff no more. Yeah. Not as well. I do here and there. But like not as much as I used to. Like
Yeah. I mean, what's your
thought? I don't like it no more. To be honest.
Why?
It's just you eat it within 10 minutes, and it just does not fill you up. You come out there, you could eat 10 more. Yeah. See what I mean? So it's just doesn't fill you up. It's not wholesome. It doesn't really taste nice no more to me. So,
yeah. So I mean, we spoke about this before in previous podcasts, like hyperpalatable food. If you're trying to get some structure with your food, the more processed fast food, then you just want more of that. Yeah. And obviously the goal when you're trying to optimize body condition is how can I get more food volume per calorie and make it as less painful as possible. If I'm trying to drop fat, and if your food overall consumption across a week is full of McDonald's and processed and added sugar food, you're going to make it very, very hard for yourself to get in staying shape. Because I know over the years you've also had your moments with sugar, right? I remember. Didn't you used to have on a Sunday, Smithy? I swear to God, you had if you're hungover, you'd drink 2 litres of full sugar cherry Coke.
Quite easily. Probably 3 litres or something like. Yeah, I mean, how much sugar's that's got? A whole 2 litre bottle. Probably got what? I don't even know. I mean, I think a normal can of 330's got 14 grams or something.
You probably 500 grams of sugar in.
Yeah. Nuts. Horrible. Oh, God, gum disease.
And diabetes.
Yeah. Really bad. And then you'd have the chocolates and everything else on top, the crisps, the sweets, the bad food. Like, yeah, really bad.
It might affect the energy levels for a few days.
Just a bit, yeah. Probably 3. As well as trying to recover from an alcoholic binge.
Yeah. I totally get it. So obviously now, Smith, you've got a business, and just tell the listeners what you do in terms of your business.
So obviously we started it off just plumbing and heating. Gas, obviously everything to do with gas.
Yeah. And how many years has that been going now then?
Are you actual? It's 6 now in total. We're coming into our 7th year, financial year, and that. So obviously, we started off, me and my partners. Obviously, when I lost my driving license, contacted a friend that I knew done plumbing and heating as well. Yeah. And I said, "You got any days for me? Obviously, I can't drive," and he said, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. So then, obviously, I went to start working for him as such, and then in the end, he just sort of said, "Listen." I was about ready to jack it in anyway because I was just on my own every day. Wow. And it was tough, like, imagine in and out, swapping a boiler, changing the bathroom on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one to talk to sort of thing. He said, do you fancy partnering up? And I said, yeah. So obviously it's grew from strength to strength from then. We've now got 13 staff, soon to be 15. Wow. Once we take on 2 more apprentices at the end of this year. But yeah, it was plumbing and heating when we first started out, but now what we've done, we've moved into electrics. So we employ 2 electricians at the minute. Obviously all plumbing and heating and gas. We do renewable energy like air source heat pumps.
Amazing.
EV charging points for cars.
Yeah.
We're getting quite big now. And then obviously air conditioning.
Yeah.
And then obviously we do like, you know, general refurbishments of households and stuff like that. So full bathroom fit outs, kitchen fit outs.
And what do you think has made your company successful and grow at the rate it has? Because I know you've completely overtook and lapped people who've been in the game for a lot longer. What do you think the key to success is in business?
Work hard, don't be scared, take a risk.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, Built to Last has obviously massively helped me.
Why?
Well, just how many leaders there are in the company, how many in the program, how many, you know, people that are at the top of their game, and you see them and you think, well, it breeds confidence in you to say, well, you know, why can't I do that?
Exactly.
Because sometimes I look at them and I'm in really good shape compared to some of them. You know what I mean, sort of thing. Without
they're at different stages of the journey.
Different stages of the journey. They've basically been. They've concentrated on work for a lot of their younger years and things like that, and growing their education and to the point where they want to be. So they look at me sometimes and think, oh, you know, wow, he looks so good. He must have worked so hard. But then I'm looking at them in the same light of their working life and stuff, and think, wow, I want to be like them now. So it sort of like spurs you on to think, well, if they want to be like me, I want to be like them. Why can't I be like them? Yeah. In the work sort of life.
No, 100%. I mean, I may have said this before, but I really, really believe one of the fastest ways to expand your identity, become better in any given area that you don't think you are quite where you want to be, then like mirror the traits of someone who is there. And the beauty of what we do inside Built to Last is there are a lot of people who have come from professional sports background. A lot of our coaching team, and also a lot of ex-footballers now that we coach. So because that's what you did growing up, it's hardwired into your DNA to train hard, and you just really, really value that physical shape. But then, like you said, there are some absolute monsters in business.
Oh, some of the biggest I've seen. And honestly, mate, it's a joke how many people you've got in there that are just world leaders at what they do. It's crazy, like, you know.
And that rubs off. But that what that does also is create a culture that it normalises.
I mean, you're not even talking one or two, are you?
No.
Like, there's so many, and you think, wow.
Exactly.
Just to be around them sort of people.
And what that does, when you're around winners, I think it eradicates any risk of being lazy.
Yeah, definitely.
It eradicates any risk of being lazy, because
you're more accountable.
If you think about, Smithy, when your standards have slipped, my standards have slipped, and look, this is nothing personal against anyone who's been a part of our journey, because I believe anyone can change at a given moment, but often it's when you've conformed to the standards and behaviours of people who maybe weren't quite ready to operate at a higher standard, but eventually your eating habits, your professional aspirations, your training quality, your movement, you're going to stand still. And I think what we're trying to create in Built to Last is just a culture and an environment that just does not allow for that. So I don't know about you, Smithy, but every single time I see someone do a share in the Facebook group, whether it's someone sharing a video, whether it's someone sharing a lift, you sometimes I might catch that on a day where you think, God, does it really matter if I train as hard today? Does it matter if I have a relaxed day with food? And then you see someone do something, and you just think, okay, I might.
Definitely, it's the first thing not the first thing I do in the mornings, but I always have a look on the group. Don't go on social media as such. Just go into the group, what's everyone's doing. So it's inspiration. So that's what I look for. Just literally nothing else. Just go into the group, see if anyone's posted anything. Then it's inspiration. Then you can move forward and think, well, I'm going to do that today now. 100%. I'm going to do that bit extra, you know.
And then how much would you say, by being even more consistent, Smithy, you know, your training, your food, what impact has that had on?
Well, business, obviously.
Business and family.
Family, obviously. You just
so you doubled your business.
Doubled the size of the business since Built to Last. Wow. That's fact. That's fact. So, you know, and it's still growing now.
And do you think that's come from as a result of standards, maybe energy, productivity? Why do you think that is?
100%. Energy, productivity, environment, being around these people, everything like that. And just been amazing. And that's a fact. That's doubled since I've been there. It's doubled.
And then how important do you think your habits are on family?
Yeah, of course, because obviously, like I've spoke to you before about obviously Hattie always exercising in front of her, eating well. She always says to me, I'm eating well now today, Daddy, and she's having some grapes or some salad. and things like that, you know. So, you know, she's really wary of, we're really wary, me and Claire are both really wary of how we train and eat and things like that. So then it's just generally rubbing off on her. She's doing little exercises, you know, she comes up into the loft like I've told you before, and, you know, while I'm doing my Peloton or whatever I'm doing, spinning class or something, and she's like, you know, messing around with little timbales and stuff, you know. So it's rubbing off on her all the time. So good habits are rubbing off on her as well. So,
bless her. Bless her. What would you say is advice to anyone listening to this who hasn't quite mastered the all or nothing, or they're just not quite where they want to be? What do you think your biggest lessons have been since becoming a genuine business owner, where you've had your own business? What do you think your biggest lessons are that people can learn from? Balance is key with everything. And what creates balance for you? Is it planning? Like what? So planning. Planning, journaling. Obviously you got me into the journaling. Yeah, because I remember when I first mentioned it to you, wasn't it? Journaling. Some people can be a little bit weird when they.
Well, I was a little bit wishy-washy with it at the start. And then, like, you know, I thought I want to step my game up again. So
how was journaling help?
You're obviously writing down every day at the start of the day where you want to be, what you want to do, who you want to be, how you're going to show up for the day. Do you know what I mean? So then all of a sudden you're reading back from the day before, you know, and obviously it's great for being just grateful, isn't it? It's actually virtually every day in that book, daily journal, just what you're grateful for, and even then that triggers something in your mind that just makes you feel a little bit happier, or you know,
because you can't be grateful, pissed off, stressed, feeling hard done by, and be genuinely grateful. In my opinion, if I think of when I've been stressed, pissed off, moody, I'm not. No, not at all. I'm not grateful in that given moment.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. Because it's overtaking that, you know, the mind.
No, I totally get it. And then a biggest food tip: say if someone's struggling with that all or nothing mentality. I know you spoke about before, you know, in the Built to Last hot seat you did about simplistic hacks that you do at the weekend or ways to manipulate. Like, just what is your how would you manipulate your weekends? Because I know ultimately a lot of people listening to this really struggle with their weekends.
So basically, if I'm going out for say drinks or a nice meal, something like that, basically what I'd do is I'd save calories either during the week, just drop it down maybe 200 for the day each day. So then basically, obviously, you've then calculated up by the time it comes to Saturday 1,000, let alone what you on the Saturday as well. So you've got an extra calorie deficit to play around with. So if you're going out for a nice meal somewhere, a few drinks, you've then got that 1,200. But then also what I'd do is I'd do a little bit of extra cardio or something like that.
So basessically you're creating more of a budget at the weekend with your food.
Yeah, but not too much. Don't kill yourself like by dropping 500 calories a day. Because then you'll blow your lid on a Saturday.
It's basically what
just little bits, increment bits each day, and then some extra cardio on the day. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. And then maybe eat a little bit lower on the day. Like instead of having porridge oats in the morning, I'll just have a protein shake and a protein yogurt. So then you're a couple of 100 calories off from your breakfast already as well. So you just,
Yeah, exactly that. Whereas when we used to do it, obviously during our 20s, we went lower calories. I mean, I would even like to know what our calories were.
I reckon there were 1,000 or something ridiculous, like 1,500, no more than 1,500.
And bearing in mind at that point, to give some context, me and Smithy, when we were training for those famous Ibiza holidays, which the year revolved around, wasn't it? You know, the big Ibiza trip, just being ripped for a couple of days. I mean, the training frequency, I mean, maybe that's something we can sort of end towards, Smithy. I mean, I look back, not only did we lift 6 days a week,
cardio,
we did 40 minutes cardio on the stair climber. I mean, sometimes I would maybe do double cardio. I mean, it was ludicrous.
Sometimes it was abs twice a night as well, twice a week as well, you know.
It was.
They're big, long workouts, and you don't need to do them, man. They're like grueling. It's like over 2 hours in the gym, wouldn't you? Like really, really, like over 2 hours.
And not only that, we were also working a full-time job at that point. So you're doing 2 hours in the gym,
and then you're trying to food prep. Because food prep weren't really out at the time or anything, was it for you or anything like that? You know what I mean?
So we were doing food prep eating
really
six, 7 times a day, and then the 2 hours training, also getting loads of steps in whilst you're doing the manual job, plumbing job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. At some point, you're going to break.
Yeah, but when you break, it's like...
It was catastrophic. It was absolute ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just so hard. Like you say, like them even back into Built to Last workouts now, nothing's really over. I don't think over an hour and 15 for weights for me.
And even then, you can strip back the sets if you press for time.
If you really want to, if you press for time, you can take that down to 45 minutes, no problem.
And how much cardio do you do now?
I'd probably do, at the minute, I'm doing 2 45-minute spinning classes, and I'm training for the half marathon as well. This is another thing that Built to Last is. I would never in a million years, because I know you've had issues with your knees, haven't you? Yeah.
You've had your knees. So how's the running holding up with?
Struggles some days.
It
blows up quite a lot. But I just want to do it now. I've said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it.
But you would never have dreamed of doing that, even in our prime in our 20s.
No, and you've got some great runners in Built to Last, and I wanted to test myself that little bit more. The weight training, I've done it now. I've done it for years, and I'm getting really consistent for the last 2 years thanks to Built to Last. But now I just want to really test this now, the mind, and nothing better than a half marathon for me, because obviously because of the knees I haven't really ever ran.
Elaborate to listeners what knees. I mean,
basically done my ACL playing rugby when I was 14.
For me, that's the worst.
Never really had a proper op to make it better back in the day then when I was 14. So done that, and then obviously that reoccurred quite a little bit during the years playing football, and then dislocated it really badly when I was 28, playing football, dislocated it, my kneecap was around the side, had a big indent in my knee, it was a really bad one, I haven't played football since then.
But how important, not just from an aesthetic perspective, because I think we've firmly established now, as much as, look, we all like to look a certain way, I'm the same, right? But your main priority now is health and longevity, and also training for your mindset and all this stuff. But in terms of handling, that your knees, which are compromised, how important is strength training for all that?
Amazing, obviously I've had quite a bit of lower back problems during the years as well, and I've never ever been stronger. Well, you've seen them lifts I was doing last year, and that some of them, weren't I?
Yeah, it's crazy strength.
Yeah. I was doing some really pretty much adding on 30% there to what I ever used to do, didn't I? Sort of thing, maybe 25 or something. But been brilliant. How you obviously you and your coaches and everything, you always make sure you're training right, working around injuries. Giving you even programs like the talk you're doing the other night on there.
Working around injuries, I mean, these are so important if you're listening to this. You need to know how to work around injuries, because listen, we try and minimise and prevent as much as possible, but when you're 40 plus, even late 30s, even mid 30s, but especially in your 40s, 50s and 60s, you're going to pick up niggles through wear and tear. Things are going to take a little bit longer to recover, and you need to know how to adapt around that. And one of the things we're trying to obviously teach, and I did a training the other day on working around injuries, is even if you have an injury, there's always something you can do to work around that. You need to be malleable with that. So, Smith, what's the goal with the career? What's the goal with the business? What's the goal with Godiva Build?
So Godiva Build, I want to grow it as much as I can. 5 or 10 year plan, and then build it as a bit of a brand, and then sell. So that's what I want to do. Build it as big as I can. Yeah.
And how important? How important is looking after you, mind, body, in pursuit of that?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, you're at the best of your game, then, aren't you? Mentally, physically, more energy, going out to talk to people, even selling. Yeah,
how much? That's what I'm curious, because obviously I speak about this a lot in terms of a lot of people listening to this have got their own business, or most people in some high power position. You've got to influence, persuade, and sell.
Yeah.
How much more confident do you feel when
of course,
you rock up in shape?
To your
when
customers. You rock up in shape, your energy's high, you're ready.
Yeah.
You've worked out. Your energy levels are up here. You're looking good. You're feeling, which automatically makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're rocking up. You're higher. You're on loads more energy. So it's definitely makes you feel great, doesn't it? And then when you actually close a sale as well, and you get some consistency with it, then just spirals from there, doesn't it?
100%
snowballs.
100%. So, Smithy, we're gonna wrap this up now. Where can people find you on social media? Because I know obviously.
So Godiva Build Limited. We're on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook. Soon to be on TikTok. And then obviously we've got our
so Smithy's soon to be a
TikTok,
social media sensation. Because obviously I know you're not on the tools anymore, right?
No, I've just recently come off them, so I'm trying to push that side of the business more forward. So yeah, you'll probably see me on a lot more filming and stuff like that. And obviously the website's www.cadaverbuild.co.uk.
Exactly.
So,
There's a lot of monkey tradesmen out there. So if you're looking for, a company that does it properly, then because
from start to finish.
Exactly. It's all about standards, though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, reliability as well. You've got to be reliable, and we're obviously we smash it in that department.
Yeah. No, awesome. Well, mate, I really appreciate your time.
With that, love ya.
Appreciate the
love ya.
I appreciate the transparency. We kept it pretty clean, as I said. Smithy is
pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, completely clean. Like maybe, I mean, some of the holes we've seen each other in.
Mate, we want to let the listeners know that, would we?
Yeah, no. They I think if you've been a bit of a lad over the years, you probably guess what me and Smithy got up to. But
definitely.
No, ultimately I suppose just the takeaway with that is, Smith. We've had our issues with alcohol over the years. Career's not always gone super smooth.
No.
Personal life's not always gone super smooth.
No, definitely not.
Curveballs, on so many different levels. But if you just keep going and surround yourself with the right people.
Definitely, mate. Wake up every day and you can start again. That's something to be grateful for in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Literally, you can wake up every day, start again, fresh day, go again. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to, just because you've got to 30 or 40 and you haven't quite where you want to be. Go now. So much more life left.
I know.
Not. It doesn't take long.
No.
Look at me, like with 6 years ago, I lost my driving license, and now this company, it doesn't take long.
No. If you just focus,
you're probably never more than 6 months of pure concentration away from being where you want to be. Really,
that's a great way to end, isn't it? If you think about 6 months, I can't remember the exact quote, but 6 months of genuine, ruthless focus on what you want, who you want to become. Physically, mentally, professionally, removing distractions, surrounding yourself with the right people. God, your life can look a hell of a lot different, can't
totally
it? But on the flip side to that, as I'm testament to that, if you focus on what you don't want, habits are poor, eating sloppy, training sloppy, you can slow the pace down
massively,
and that roadmap to where you want to be dramatically.
Definitely, mate. I mean, imagine if that's 6 months, what you could do in a year, what you could do in 2.
100%. That's amazing. Right, we'll end it there. Thank you so much as always for listening, and I'll see you next time.